Hey everyone, this week we read a bunch of poems that deal with brokenness and grief and kind of hard parts of life. And out of all of them, the one that stuck with me was The Cross of Snow by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And the way that I think he describes carrying grief for years on end. And he does it with just one image, which is just a cross of snow on a mountain, and that kind of hit me pretty hard. It's very simple, but it shows how like some pain may never melt away, even though it looks so high up and we don't notice it all the time, but it may just not melt away. So when asked like if poetry is still useful for expressing lament today, or whether other genres do it better, I actually think poetry has a unique role in that. Poetry condenses emotion in a way that feels real. Everybody's always busy, constantly moving, scrolling on their phones. But I feel like life still brings big emotions even through that, and poetry kind of takes those emotions and those feelings and packs them into a few couple lines that may relate with you very well. And Longfellow doesn't need like a whole novel to describe grief, and he sums it up very quickly. And that kind of emotional, just like punch and grab is something that poetry does really well. It's also great at holding complicated feelings. Lament isn't just straightforward. It's confusing, messy, full of contradictions sometimes. And it's intense and even uncomfortable, but it shows how like desperate and hopeful a person can be at the same time. And poetry really lets those mixed emotions sit together without trying to kick out one or the other, which makes it feel honest and real. And I think poetry can kind of turn pain into strength. Other genres can definitely express lament too, I think. Like memoirs or movies or even music. They all have their own strengths, but poetry definitely hits differently in the fact that it's personal and deep and can be universal across those. Multiple people can see it different ways, multiple people can take it how they want it. And so I just think it's very universal in that. And it doesn't just describe lament, and it creates an experience for you with it. And I think in a world where people usually try to avoid pain or distract themselves from it through their phone or stuff like that, poetry kind of reminds us that it's okay and important, and to sit with the emotions for a while and figure them out and not just try to kick them to the curb. And so that's why, because of that, I think poetry is still pretty important to this day and is still very helpful in terms of those. So, yeah.